Welcome to the Creation Science for Kids show. Praise the Lord. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart, in the company of the upright in the congregation. Great are the works of the Lord, studied by all who delight in them. Full of splendor and majesty is his work, and his righteousness endures forever. He has caused his wondrous works to be remembered. The Lord is gracious and merciful. Psalm 111, verses 1 through 4. This is episode 4 of the podcast where we learn about Jesus, our Creator, and his amazing world. Hi, I'm Sherry Fields, your host, and I'm joined today by my co-hosts, Joseph.
Hello.
And Timothy.
Hi.
Today we're going to talk about what God was up to on day 3 of Creation Week. We'll learn why plants are important to the land and find out what happens to exposed ground by exploring some amazing places you can see what erosion does. Then we'll hear some of our favorite experiments to do at home. First, I'd like to ask you for a favor. If you're listening to this podcast on iTunes or Stitcher, please take a minute to leave us a review. It helps more people find us, and it will be exciting to see what you like best. Thanks. Okay, let's get out our Bibles and turn to Genesis chapter 1. Timothy, do you remember what this chapter is all about?
When God created the world.
That's right, and he did a lot of work. What was the world like when he first started?
The space.
Just space? No, it had rock, but what was on top of it? Do you remember?
No.
It was
Okay.
void. And,
Yeah, let's go back and look. So at the very beginning it says, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. So you're right, it was void, Joseph. And God said, let there be light. That was the first day. The second day he said, I skipped. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Do you know what the deep is, Timothy? The ocean is called the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So the whole planet was covered in water. You can see a planet that still looks like it's covered. It's not actually water, it's gas. But Neptune looks a lot like what Earth would have looked like back on day 2.
It looks like a blue water.
But God wasn't going to leave the land that way, was he?
No.
So on day 3, here's what happened. We're going to read verses 9 through 13. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, now normally on the other days when he had done something, he did one thing, and said it was good, and the evening and the morning were the first day, and were the second day. Yeah. Today, he didn't say, okay, we'll call that a day. No, he had something else he wanted to do that very same day. Yeah. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. Okay, so what else did he do after he gathered together the water so the dry land could appear?
Grass?
he made the grass.
The grass and all the other
Plants.
Why do you think he did that? Why didn't he wait until the next day to make the plants? Was he in a big hurry? No, he could have waited. But let's see if we can figure out why. Let's have some look at some pictures that I found today. Okay, what is this a picture of? A rock slide. There's dirt coming down. There are rocks on top of it. What happened to the trees here?
They went down.
The trees got knocked down. And where is the dirt going? Is it still up in the mountainside?
No.
No.
It went all the way down.
I found a whole bunch. I looked up the word mudslide in an image search, and look at all these things I found. What happens when mud slides down a mountain? Oh, here, this is a great picture. What happened?
The whole valley just split.
Yeah, it's making a mess, isn't it? And if you had it like that for very long, would the mountains last long? Would it be safe to live under them? No, it would not. And God knew that. And here's a place where it went right over a freeway.
Whoa.
Yeah. Now, I liked this one picture of the big old boulder right in the middle of the road. It's so big it would smush a truck. Okay, so God was showing us something. There are a number of places around the world, I'll just show you really quickly, where sometimes they're dry desert areas, but this one you can tell there are trees and plants all around. There's plenty of rain, but are there plants growing here? No, these are called erosional features. The topsoil, the good dirt that plants like to grow in has all been washed away. It's also very steep, and it leaves behind there are only rocks. And it's pretty to look at, but you wouldn't want to live there. It's even very uncomfortable to walk on a lot of times because of the crust that it has. And it's not a place where you can grow and live. One of the most famous places is called Bryce Canyon. They have things called hoodoos. There's a place called a hat shop where it has lots of those rocks, hard rocks on top with the skinny stands as if they had hats standing on. Here's one up in Canada with the same, see the flat pancake rock on top and leaving the pillars behind. So they're very interesting to look at, but you would not want to live there. God knew that leaving soil, rocks exposed without plants on top was not good, and he was setting us a good example that he doesn't want the soil, the rocks exposed. Plants are supposed to grow on it, trees and all the other things, rather than leaving dirt exposed. Something else has happened. When I was young, we lived in Illinois, and there was one summer, it had been a very dry summer early in the year, and I remember the wind was blowing, and the whole air turned brown with the dirt that had been blown off of the fields for who knows how long, far away, and was blowing through the air. This happens where dirt from Africa will get blown over to the Americas, that when you have dirt exposed and it gets dry, it's very bad and you get erosion. So God doesn't like that, and he let us know that if we were paying attention to the way he did his own taking care of the earth and the land. All right, so that's it for our Bible lesson. But here's a joke for you. What can run but cannot walk?
I don't know.
Now, I can actually think of two things. When you're sick, what runs?
Your nose.
Yes.
And also water.
And water. It can run but cannot walk. Very good, Joseph. All right, now we get to hear from you guys. Science isn't just for grown-ups working in fancy labs. We can explore God's world by doing experiments right at home. Today, let's hear about your favorite experiments. Tell us about yours, Joseph.
I liked doing the taste testing experiment because we had different drinks and we plugged our nose.
Now, I want you to be so specific that
we had 4 drinks: broth, tea, and juice.
Oh, that's just 3 drinks. Why? So how did we have 4?
We had another cup of juice. 2 of them were the same, so we had to guess which ones were the same. We plugged our nose and took a sip or a gulp. And
was it hard with your nose plugged?
It wasn't that hard for me, but it was different. It was a little different when my nose was plugged, but not that different.
So what did you like about it?
I liked where we could take the drinks and we could each test some of them and see what they were. I liked it because I had to make guesses and I had to think what they were.
All right. Timothy, what was your favorite experiment that we've done recently?
My favorite experiment is where we lit matches and the water came up.
Okay. Did you light the matches?
No, I didn't light the matches.
Who lit the matches?
my mommy.
Mommy lit the matches.
And we saw...
Now, just a minute. People, when they hear lighting matches, they're going to think I was just holding the matches in my hand. First, you've got to describe, what did you see on the counter when you came in? What had I set up already?
A plate and some quarters.
Uh-huh. I picked quarters, which is our biggest money that we have around the house.
And we watched it.
Wait. There was a plate. And what were the quarters doing? Were they making a smiley face?
No, sitting on an island.
They were making...
An island.
Yeah, I had them stacked up, and they were an island because...
To put the matches on.
Wait. Why were they an island? If you just stack quarters on a plate, that doesn't make them an island. What made them an island?
Because there was water on the plate.
Right. As much water as the plate would hold without getting close to the edge. Well, at first I didn't. I just had a little bit of water. Okay.
Yeah.
And then?
And then we lit matches.
How many? A dozen?
No. 2.
2 matches. And what did I do with the matches?
Put them on the quarters.
Uh-huh. Like an X. So they didn't fall off into the water. And then what?
And we put a cup on.
What kind of cup?
Glass cup.
A glass cup so we could see what was going on inside. And did we pour drink into the cup? How did we put the cup on?
It was upside down.
Right. We put it on upside down over the matches. And what happened?
They went out, and then...
What went out?
The matches went out.
It took them a couple seconds, though. They still had some oxygen for a bit, but then they blew out. Uh-huh.
And then the water rose.
Yeah. What was that like?
Cool. And
what did you see happen?
The water had fountains going up.
It wasn't spraying. But
Yes,
you were saying it was? Okay, I guess I wasn't watching very carefully. Okay, and there were lots of...
Bubbles.
Now, the first time I just used a little water, so the water went up in the cup a little bit. What did we try again? And it kept working until the plate was full.
We added more water.
Right. So it got a good 2 centimeters, an inch higher than it had been before. Now, do you remember what Mommy said was going on? Why did the water go up in the cup? Do you remember?
No.
Joseph, do you remember?
The matches filled the cup with hot air. It lifted the water up. When the matches went out, the air cooled, shrinking, pulling the water up.
And that's why we saw the bubbles, too, because it was pulling in the air. Well, that wraps up our experiment time. Thanks for sharing, guys. Before we go, I'd like to tell you about a great new resource I found. Mark Armitage has worked with microscopes for years, dug up his own dinosaur fossils to study, and loves Jesus. He recently started a website for kids called Backyard Microscope. There are already some fun videos up showing what you can do with a good quality microscope studying the tiny things in the world all around us. I especially like the one he put up showing how some algae glows under UV light. Plus, it was fun to see him get covered in stuffed cootie germs, too. You can find out more in the show notes for this episode at creationscience4kids.com/004 to check it out. Do you like science? Got a subject you want to learn about? Or maybe you like telling stories? If you send me a report, story, joke, or interesting idea, I might use it in a future show. Well, this finishes up our show for today. Until next time, have fun treasuring our amazing universe and Creator. Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created. Revelation 4:11.